Imagine that a simple, seemingly harmless breakfast could be shortening your life. A sweet, soft fruit that everyone considers healthy, but when combined with certain foods, it can cause a dangerous chain reaction inside your body. That fruit is papaya. After the age of 60, our bodies no longer respond in the same way. What used to go unnoticed can now cause inflammation, gas, poor digestion, glucose spikes, or even overload vital organs. And this is precisely where the danger lies. You believe you are doing something good for your health, but in fact you may be weakening your natural defenses, accelerating aging, and creating fertile ground for silent diseases. Papaya, on its own, is a powerful food. It is rich in enzymes that aid digestion, full of fiber that cleanses the intestines, and contains antioxidants that fight free radicals. But it has a hidden side that few people know about. When combined with 4 specific types of food, what should be a cure becomes an overload. It's as if a small spark, thrown in the wrong place, could turn into a fire inside your body. Many believe that these discomforts are normal for their age: bloating after eating, heartburn that appears at night, that fatigue that insists on accompanying their days. But what if it wasn't just age? What if the culprit was on your plate, disguised in a seemingly innocent mixture? In the next few sections, you'll find out what these 4 villains are, why they react so badly with papaya, and how to avoid them to turn this fruit into a true natural remedy. Get ready, because some of these combinations may be happening on your table right now. And if this warning has already made you think twice about your breakfast, leave a like on this video. That way, more people over 60 will have access to this information and can protect their health before it's too late. At first glance, papaya seems like a gift from nature. Its vibrant orange color already indicates the presence of carotenoids, substances that protect vision, skin, and even the heart. It is rich in vitamin C, which strengthens immunity, and contains papain, an enzyme that facilitates protein digestion so efficiently that many consider it a natural remedy for indigestion. For those over 60, it also has an added bonus: it is soft, easy to chew, and easy on the stomach. It is no coincidence that doctors and nutritionists around the world recommend papaya as part of a healthy diet. It helps control cholesterol, promotes blood circulation, and helps keep skin firmer and more hydrated. In fact, papaya alone is a great ally for longevity. But here's the critical point that is almost never mentioned: the power of papaya depends on the context. The human body is like an orchestra, where each food represents an instrument. When they play in harmony, the music is smooth and invigorating. However, when some instruments are out of tune, the melody turns into noise and chaos. This is exactly what happens when papaya is combined with certain foods. Often, the mistake stems from simple habits: indiscriminately combining fruits in a colorful salad, mixing papaya with milk or yogurt in a healthy shake, or even accompanying it with fatty meals in the belief that this aids digestion. These seemingly harmless choices can become traps that weaken the digestive system, inflame the body, and steal energy from those who most need to preserve it. After 60, every meal should be an investment in vitality. However, wrong combinations can produce the opposite effect: instead of nourishing, they intoxicate; instead of protecting, they weaken. Papaya is not the villain, but when paired with the wrong foods, it can become a silent trigger for problems that seem small but accumulate over time. And that's where the big question arises: how does the body react when these clashes happen inside us? The answer is hidden in an invisible process that happens every day and determines whether papaya will be a remedy or a problem. Inside our body, there is a silent universe that we rarely notice: the digestive system. This is where all foods meet, interact, and often clash. After the age of 60, this process becomes even more delicate because the body no longer produces the same amount of enzymes and acids it did in youth. This means that every food choice weighs more heavily and can determine whether you will have energy and lightness, or fatigue and inflammation. When you eat papaya alone, everything seems to flow easily. Papain helps break down proteins, fiber stimulates the intestines, and antioxidants act as silent guardians. But when this fruit is combined with incompatible foods, the stomach becomes a veritable battlefield. On one side, we have enzymes that work to digest the fiber and sugars in papaya. On the other, there are milk proteins, heavy fats, or acids from other fruits. It's like putting soldiers from different armies on the same field; each fights for itself, creating confusion and wasting energy. The result? Poorly digested food, fermentation, gas, abdominal discomfort, and, in many cases, silent inflammation that accumulates over the years. This digestive conflict doesn't just stay in the stomach. It generates toxic byproducts that circulate through the bloodstream, overload the liver, increase glucose levels, and even interfere with the absorption of essential vitamins. It's like putting poor quality gasoline in an old car. It works, but over time it starts to malfunction, accumulate dirt, and break down. And what's most concerning is that many people ignore the signs. Heartburn, bloating, drowsiness after meals, all of this is seen as a normal part of aging. But the truth is that these are clear warnings that there is a war going on inside you. A war that could be avoided with smarter choices at the table. What if I told you that one of the biggest culprits in this battle is something as common as a glass of milk mixed with papaya? This popular combination can be much more harmful than it seems. Few people suspect it, but one of the most common combinations with papaya is also one of the most dangerous, mixing it with milk, yogurt, or cheese. Who has never seen the famous papaya smoothie with milk being served as a healthy option? The problem is that, inside the body, this mixture is far from harmless. Papain, an enzyme found in papaya, breaks down proteins and aids digestion. Milk, on the other hand, is rich in casein, a complex protein that requires a lot of energy to process. When these two elements meet in the stomach, they clash. Instead of cooperating, they end up competing. The result is a slow, irregular digestive process full of residues that ferment quickly. This fermentation is not only uncomfortable. It causes gas, heartburn, reflux, and a feeling of heaviness that can last for hours. Even worse, over time, these frequent reactions inflame the intestinal mucosa, hinder nutrient absorption, and overload organs such as the liver and kidneys. For those over 60, this means less energy, more fatigue, and greater vulnerability to metabolic diseases. And it doesn't stop there. Studies show that combining papaya with milk can alter the intestinal flora, favoring harmful bacteria and decreasing the efficiency of the immune system. What should be a healthy shake can, in practice, sabotage your natural defenses and accelerate cellular aging.
Many believe that symptoms such as gas or heartburn are just temporary discomforts, but they are warning signs. Imagine your body as an old machine. Each inappropriate mixture acts like sand thrown into the engine. At first, the car still runs, but over time, wear and tear becomes inevitable. If papaya, combined with dairy products, can already have such a negative impact, can you imagine what happens when it is mixed with other equally powerful but acidic fruits? The next villain is even more treacherous because it often appears in fruit salads and juices that many believe to be the perfect image of health. When we think of a healthy meal, we often imagine a colorful fruit salad. Papaya, orange, pineapple, kiwi, all together on the same plate. Visually, it's beautiful. On the palate, refreshing. But inside the body, this combination can turn into a silent problem. Papaya is a fruit that is milder and more enzymatic in nature. It needs a relatively neutral environment for its enzymes, especially papain, to do their job of breaking down proteins and facilitating digestion. Citrus fruits, such as oranges, lemons, and pineapples, on the other hand, have a high concentration of acids. These acids completely change the pH of the stomach and, instead of helping, end up deactivating or reducing the effectiveness of papain. The immediate result is simple: poor digestion. Instead of complementing each other, the fruits conflict. This clash causes gas, fermentation, heartburn. It can even cause reflux in more sensitive people. For those over 60, when the stomach's natural acidity tends to decrease, the overload is even greater. The body expends extra energy trying to correct the imbalance, leaving less energy for other vital functions. But the effects don't stop at discomfort. This digestive war can reduce the absorption of vitamins and minerals. You think you're nourishing yourself, but in practice you're wasting valuable nutrients. Worse still, excess acidity combined with the natural sugar in fruit can irritate the intestinal mucosa, triggering silent inflammatory processes that, over time, accelerate cellular aging and weaken the immune system. It is ironic to think that the famous fruit salad, so closely associated with health, may be one of the most common mistakes at the table. What seemed like a gesture of care may, in fact, be sabotaging your body on a daily basis. And if this mixture already causes so many problems, wait until you meet the next enemy. It does not come from fruit, but from fatty foods which, when combined with papaya, create an even more dangerous overload for the liver and heart. Imagine the scene: you finish a heavy meal, full of fried foods, fatty meats, or yellow cheeses, and in an attempt to relieve your stomach, you decide to eat a piece of papaya. Sounds like a good idea, right? After all, everyone says that papaya aids digestion. But this common practice may be exactly the opposite of what you need. When we consume foods rich in saturated fat, the body already enters a state of maximum effort. The liver and gallbladder need to release more bile, the pancreas needs to produce more enzymes, and the blood becomes momentarily thicker, hindering circulation. In this scenario, papaya arrives to try to help, but its action is blocked. The fruit's enzymes end up getting lost in the excess fat, becoming ineffective. The result is not lightness, but fermentation, abdominal bloating, and even malabsorption of important nutrients. In addition, the natural sugar in papaya, when mixed with these fats, can cause glycemic spikes and triglyceride accumulation. For those over 60, this means a higher risk of insulin resistance, hepatic steatosis, the famous fatty liver, and cardiovascular disease. What's more, this combination overloads the liver, an essential organ that already works as the body's detox center. When continuously exposed to this shock, it loses efficiency, leaving the body more vulnerable to toxins and chronic inflammation. What seemed to be a healthy habit, ending a meal with papaya, can accelerate internal aging processes and increase the risk of silent diseases. Many people report drowsiness and fatigue after mixing papaya with fatty meals. This is not just a common side effect, but a clear sign that the body is exhausted trying to deal with a mixture that should not exist. But the danger does not stop there. There is also a fourth enemy, often overlooked, but which can turn papaya into a real trigger for serious problems. It is not a solid food, but something that accompanies many meals and celebrations, and which, in contact with papaya, can be devastating to the liver and metabolism. Among all the dangerous combinations with papaya, perhaps this is the most treacherous, mixing it with alcoholic beverages. Many believe that fruits neutralize the effects of alcohol, making it lighter. It is not uncommon to see people eating papaya for dessert after a wine-filled lunch, or even using the fruit in tropical cocktails. But inside the body, this combination is a dangerous trap. Alcohol is already a challenge for the body on its own. It requires the liver to work at an accelerated rate to metabolize toxins and cleanse the bloodstream. When we add papaya to this equation, especially because of the papain and natural sugars in the fruit, the liver is forced to deal with an even greater volume of substances that are difficult to process. The result is overload, inflammation, and accumulation of liver fat. This combination not only damages the liver, but also affects blood sugar levels. When metabolized together with alcohol, the sugar in papaya can cause sudden spikes and drops in glucose levels. For those over 60 who already have increased insulin sensitivity, this process becomes a silent risk for the development of type 2 diabetes. Another critical point is digestion. Alcohol reduces the natural production of digestive enzymes, while the papain in papaya attempts to speed up the process. This imbalance leads to poor nutrient absorption, as well as discomfort such as nausea, gas, and reflux. What seemed like a festive and tasty combination turns into a direct attack on the body's natural defenses. But the effects are not only physical. This mixture also affects energy and mental disposition. Metabolic overload produces excess free radicals, accelerating cellular aging and impairing mental clarity. It is no wonder that many report a more intense hangover after consuming sweet fruits together with alcohol. And here's an important thought. If you've ever experienced heartburn, fatigue, or discomfort after eating papaya in social situations with wine, beer, or cocktails, your body may be giving you clear warning signs. On that note, have you ever experienced this? Have you ever felt discomfort after mixing papaya with certain foods or drinks? Share your experience in the comments. Sharing real stories can help others your age better understand their body's signals. And if you've seen how harmful the wrong combinations can be, get ready. Because now we're going to talk about the invisible signals your body gives when it's in danger. Often ignored, they are the first step towards serious illness, but also an opportunity to act in time. The human body is wise. Whenever something is wrong, it finds a way to let us know. The problem is that we often ignore these signs or treat them as simple consequences of aging.
After 60, any discomfort is usually attributed to natural aging. But what if it weren't just that? When papaya is mixed with the villains we have already revealed, dairy products, citrus fruits, fatty foods, and alcoholic beverages, the body reacts immediately. This reaction does not happen in total silence. It appears in symptoms that seem minor but hide greater imbalances. Among the most common are recurrent heartburn, abdominal bloating, excess gas, and that heavy drowsiness after meals. These signs indicate that the stomach and intestines are struggling to cope with the mixture. But there are also symptoms that go beyond the digestive system. Frequent headaches, loss of energy throughout the day, and even difficulty concentrating can be the result of these bad combinations. Another frequent sign is swelling in the legs and feet. This happens because digestive overload also impacts the liver and kidneys, organs that are essential for filtering and eliminating toxins. When they cannot cope with the demand, the body retains fluids as a defense mechanism. Of course, these signs alone do not mean a serious illness. But when added together and repeated over time, they become a dangerous road to chronic inflammation, insulin resistance, cardiovascular disease, and even accelerated cell degeneration. It's as if small cracks in a wall are ignored until, one day, it suddenly collapses. The good news is that when identified early, these signs act as alarms that allow you to correct your course. Replacing bad combinations with smarter choices can relieve symptoms in a few days, restore energy, and protect vital organs. And if you think all this sounds like distant theory, know that science has already proven these effects in serious research. Recent studies reveal how inappropriate combinations not only disrupt digestion but also compromise nutrient absorption and accelerate the body's aging process. For years, nutrition was seen only as the sum of calories, proteins, and vitamins. But modern studies show that the secret lies in combinations. The body does not react to each food in isolation, but rather to their mixture within the digestive system. This is where papaya stands out, both as an ally and as a risk. Research published in renowned medical journals shows that papain, the central enzyme in papaya, is extremely effective at breaking down proteins when consumed alone. However, when in contact with casein, from milk, or citric acids, from fruits such as oranges and lemons, its activity decreases dramatically. This means that, instead of aiding digestion, papaya contributes to the formation of residues that ferment in the stomach and intestines. Another study, conducted with seniors over 65, showed that those who combined papaya with fatty meals had higher triglyceride levels and early signs of hepatic steatosis compared to those who consumed the fruit alone. The liver, already naturally more sensitive in this age group, could not handle the overload. But we don't need to rely solely on cold data. Consider the fictional case of Mrs. Lucia, 72. She always believed she was doing herself a huge favor by drinking her papaya and milk smoothie every morning. However, she began to notice constant heartburn and fatigue shortly after breakfast. When she switched to pure papaya, accompanied by some chia seeds, in just 2 weeks she reported digestive lightness, more energy, and even improved sleep. Or in the example of Mr. Antonio, 68, who loved to end his Sunday lunches with papaya and a glass of wine. Over time, he began to experience abdominal bloating and frequent headaches. Advised to separate his consumption of the fruit from alcohol, he noticed that these symptoms disappeared almost completely. These cases illustrate what science has already confirmed: bad combinations may seem subtle, but they profoundly affect how the body absorbs nutrients, processes toxins, and maintains its natural defenses. And in light of this reality, the big question arises: how, then, can papaya be consumed correctly so that it is a true natural remedy, and not a silent threat? After so many warnings, it may seem that papaya is a constant danger. But the truth is just the opposite. When consumed correctly, it is one of the most powerful fruits for those over 60. The secret lies in respecting its nature. Papaya is best enjoyed when eaten alone or in simple combinations. Eating a piece on an empty stomach first thing in the morning is one of the most effective ways to activate digestion, cleanse the intestines, and prepare the body to receive the day's nutrients. It's like opening the window of a house to let the air circulate and everything work better. Another safe option is to combine it with light seeds, such as chia, flaxseed, or even oats in small amounts. These mixtures do not compete with papain; on the contrary, they add fiber and prolong the feeling of satiety. For those seeking stable energy and better blood sugar control, this is a smart choice. And if you like to turn papaya into dessert, the tip is simple: avoid the villains already mentioned. Skip the condensed milk, cheese, acidic fruits, or glass of wine. Instead, add a drizzle of natural honey, some nuts, or even ground cinnamon. This way, you maximize the antioxidant and digestive benefits without overloading your body. With these adjustments, papaya returns to what it should always have been, a natural remedy for the body. It improves circulation, reduces inflammation, strengthens immunity, and even contributes to healthy skin, hair, and joints. For those who want to age with vitality, it is a real treasure. And since we're talking about choices that transform lives, think about how many people around you still believe that a papaya smoothie or mixed fruit salad is healthy. If you know someone who needs this warning, share this video now. This simple gesture can prevent years of silent suffering and pave the way for a lighter and healthier life. And if papaya has its own rules, the same goes for virtually all foods. There is a logic, a set of principles that help you choose safe and smart combinations that can keep your body strong and balanced even after 60. These are called the golden rules of food combining, and knowing them can be a game changer for your health. At this point, it is clear that it is not only what you eat, but how you combine foods that determines whether the result will be health or overload. After 60, this becomes even more important because the body demands lightness, efficiency, and balance. Therefore, there are some simple rules, true golden rules, that can transform any meal. First rule, simplicity. The simpler the meal, the better the body uses the nutrients. Avoid mixing too many fruits at once or turning the dish into a festival of ingredients. 2 or 3 well-chosen options are enough. Second rule, respect your body's timing. Papaya, watermelon, cantaloupe, and other light fruits should be eaten alone or on an empty stomach. This ensures that they are digested quickly, without competing with heavier proteins or fats. Third rule, separate foods of different types. Animal proteins, such as meat, chicken, or fish, require an acidic environment for digestion. Complex carbohydrates, such as rice, potatoes, and whole grain breads, require a more alkaline environment. When consumed together, they create digestive conflicts. A good practice is to balance portions and not overload your plate. Rule 4, respect your liver. Avoid mixing sweet fruits with alcohol or very fatty meals. The liver is already the body's main filter, and constantly overloading it accelerates aging and paves the way for silent diseases. Fifth rule, listen to your body. Heartburn, gas, bloating, and drowsiness are not normal for your age. They are signs that something is not working well. Using papaya and other foods as allies means observing these warnings and adjusting your habits in time. When applied on a daily basis, these rules act as a compass. They simplify choices, bring more energy, and allow each meal to be a source of vitality, not exhaustion. It is not about living in restriction, but about living in harmony. They simplify choices, bring more energy, and allow each meal to be a source of vitality, not exhaustion. It is not about living with restrictions, but about living in harmony with what the body really needs. With this understanding, papaya is no longer a question mark and returns to its original role, that of a powerful natural remedy, capable of cleansing, regenerating, and strengthening. And now we come to a decisive point: how to conclude this learning experience in a clear, inspiring, and practical way for your life. What is the real message after everything you have discovered so far? Along this journey, you have discovered something that few people know: papaya, which many consider a symbol of health, can become a risk when combined incorrectly. But you have also seen that, when respected, it is an extraordinary ally for the body, especially after the age of 60. The big message is simple and powerful: health is not only in the food itself, but in the way you put it on the table. Every meal is a choice. And every choice has the power to protect, regenerate, and prolong your vitality. It's not about living in fear, but living wisely. Now you know that avoiding papaya with dairy, citrus fruits, fatty foods, and alcohol is more than a detail. It's a direct investment in your well-being, your liver function, your mental clarity, and the energy to enjoy each day. Think about how many people your age still believe that heartburn, bloating, or fatigue after eating is normal. Think about how many could transform their health simply by adjusting the way they combine foods. By applying this knowledge, you are not only taking care of the present, but ensuring a lighter and more vital future. Aging does not have to be synonymous with limitations. On the contrary, it can be a period of discovery, renewed energy, and smart choices that strengthen your natural defenses. Papaya, used correctly, is one of the clearest examples of how nature offers powerful tools to those who know how to use them. If this content has opened your eyes and shown you a new way to take care of your health, subscribe to the channel. That way, you can continue to receive practical, science-based guidance that can transform your diet and your life. Together, we can create a community of people over 60 who choose to live longer, with more strength, clarity, and vitality. Because, in the end, it's not just about what you eat, it's about how you choose to live.